disaster.
You mean the happy birthday syndrome where it's like 5 different...
My favorite part about especially over the pandemic is people learned.
Right?
When a group of people would get together over Zoom and be like, we're going to sing happy birthday. And so what happens is because of the delay, it just gets slower and slower
turns
and
into a
slower.
dirge.
Like, happy
birthday.
And it's hysterical. It's so funny. So yeah, so if you would like to sing, I will applaud you. Folks at home, if you would like to sing, I will applaud you, but we're not singing.
We're not singing together.
This is why when we used to do Bardic Inspiration, Jason would do all of the singing and the playing because singing along was not gonna work.
No. There's that audio delay that really starts messing up your counts.
And it's so small, but that's when you really notice it. Yeah.
It's enough
Zoom
where it throws you.
Real good, but it's from one professional musician to another, we both know it doesn't take much. It doesn't take much.
It takes a fly flying across and like affecting the conductor's wand. That's all it takes.
What is it? The butterfly in Shanghai, and then suddenly everybody is going 20 BPM slower than they really should be.
Yeah. God, I've been there too. Good grief. Anyways, hi everyone. It's Friday. It's time for Paint and Slay. I'm V. Above me is Lauren. Today we're going to keep working on our Cyclops mini, which is it's a larger mini, still a mini though. But we've made some good progress on. Well, I named this guy Shrek because previously he was green for a while. Now he not. Now he is the child of Fry and Leela from Futurama. But
I forgot about that.
But once we finish up with this fellow, because chances are what we have left to do is not going to be enough to fill the full 2 wonderful hours that we have with you this Friday, we're going to jump over to painting the Whiz Kids. Oh no, I've lost my Oni.
Nope, there we go. I gotcha.
We'll move over to painting the Oni from the D&D Nolzur's Marvelous Miniatures line. And of course my camera's like, what is this white blob? Don't expect me to focus. No. So that's the plan for today. But before we get into the painting and the techniques, we do have some things happening in the game. What do we want to start with first? We want to start with the news that we shared on Thursday?
Sure. Let's start with Thursday and go forward from there.
Okay.
So, Miss Squiggles is first. Cool. So, if you were able to watch the awesome interview with Devin Rue on Thursday for Idle Insights, they talked about Miss Squiggles, which is our next charity familiar for Lambert House, which is a fantastic organization here in the Pacific Northwest that helps with LGBTQ plus folks, especially those who are no longer able to be in their home and have to find somewhere else to be. So it's a fantastic organization. That's our charity familiar. It goes live on Monday. And like all of our charity familiars, the first week of Squiggles sales, which is fun to say, the net proceeds of that first week will all go to Lambert House. So keep an eye on Monday at about noon Pacific when the update will happen, and you'll be able to purchase Miss Squiggles, the octopus charity familiar, which is just adorable. What I didn't notice at first, it wasn't until I was setting up the overlays and everything for Idle Insights and putting stuff together, the underarms are all rainbow colored.
Isn't that
it took a while
adorable?
For me to notice that. It is so cool.
That was
so good.
It was such a seriously fun design call to have with Devin. Because backstory, we've had some interactions about Miss Squiggles before. I actually painted a mini for Devin that looks like Squiggles. So
I didn't know.
Like this was a few years back. So it was really cool when I'm like, okay, so Devin, what do you want to do? And Devin goes, well, you should know this one really well. So I was like, it's the octopus.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So absolutely adorable.
It's such a sweet critter. I'm so excited that Miss Squiggles is going to be in Idle Champions. Again, that's going to start on Monday. Really some cool stuff there. I'm just happy about it.
And I know in Community Q&A, both Sean and Mars were talking about that Idle Insights interview. That's one of the reasons I try to get the stuff up on YouTube fairly quickly, but often for Idle Insights, it doesn't go up until the next Monday. But it is up now on YouTube. So if you missed the interview yesterday, it's up on YouTube on our Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms YouTube, and you can watch it because not only do they talk about Miss Squiggles and Lambert House, but also you can get a lot of cool stories about all of the maps that Devin does, because they are a professional cartographer as a profession, as a living. They've made some really cool stuff. So you can go to our YouTube
Yeah.
and check that out. Now, let's stick that in chat while you pull up what are we talking about next?
Are you ready for the weekend?
Hey, a Just a Car Among Us weekend. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so is it a Justiciar Among Us or is it a Just a Car Among
I
Us?
think it's just a car, is what my brain is locking onto.
That's what my brain is too, but I
Oh!
know in the game whenever they talk about the Dark Justiciars
So it's
in Baldur's Gate
then it's
3,
just
but
a
it's
seer. I think I don't
eh,
know. There's just been so much floating around these days.
yeah. Anyway, it's a weekend. It's
Have
the
fun.
weekend. So, Shadowheart, Makos, Arkin, Gale, and
Carlac.
Karlach. Geesh, sorry, I was looking at another thing and I couldn't come up with a name, and I feel real bad because Karlach's my bae. The five of them are getting a bonus to their fun stuff for the weekend to help you get some of the new variants that just came out recently. So new adventures and new variants because Vecna. And if you are signed up for the newsletter, you should be receiving your newsletter with the free gold Justiciar chest. There, I'm going to say it like they say it in the nice British accent in Baldur's Gate 3. So if you're not signed up for the newsletter, definitely go for it in game. You will immediately get a code in the first newsletter that unlocks the champion hitch. And then we send out one newsletter a week that always has a free code in it. And every once in a while, we'll send a second one, but it always has free stuff. And
Yeah.
we try to not, we're not that company that's going to send 3 billion newsletters to your
Oh.
email, we promise.
Yes, very much that. Okay, so that's the weekend, and then I think are we good to share the other stuff?
Yes,
Let's,
both the champions have been announced.
okay, just making sure
I
because
just I was
I was
literally
like,
just looking to make sure that Ravengard went live. Yes.
Yay!
So Dragon Down starts on Wednesday, and the two featured champions for Dragon Down are Esmeralda, who is a champion that is currently in the game, but she's getting a little bit of a work, a little bit of
Rework, yeah.
a glow up.
I like that.
She's been in the game for a while and deserves a little bit of assistance and, power levels and things. And then joining the brand new champion, Duke Alder Ravengard, who, once again, Baldur's Gate 3, you happen to be playing. But Ravengard has been in not Idle Tournaments, in D&D for a while because
Yeah.
they're one of the Flaming Fist people that went to
Yep.
Elturel when the whole Baldur's Gate Descent into Avernus thing happened. So this has been a champion that's been out for a while. And if you play Baldur's Gate 3, you also know that this is a champion that has some ties to the rest of the Baldur's Gate 3 champions from the game.
Yeah.
So yes, the blogs for both of them are up right now. Esmeralda went up yesterday. Ravengard literally went up like 9 minutes ago.
Yes.
The videos are going to go up next week. And then on Wednesday at noon, Dragon Down begins. And you'll be able to get all sorts of cool stuff for them, as well as a bunch of other champions who are involved. But there are featured champions.
Absolutely. I also just like the name of the event, Dragon Down.
Yeah.
I always get delighted by Dragon because it's like Dragon Down.
Also, it's one of the easier events to say,
Right?
because we're eventually Agaron's Day is coming back,
See?
and we're starting to get to the point in where I have to remind people that it's Agaron's Day.
And I should
Which-
know how to say that, but now I'm always constantly guessing myself, even though Veronica launched on that one. And holy moly, did we have, what was it, 2 years in a row with Veronica and then Lae'zel?
Lays out, yeah.
The pronunciation game.
Before Veronica was someone else who was difficult to pronounce.
Was it?
Because we were joking when Veronica came out that Agaron's Day has become the difficult word to pronounce event.
The tongue twister event. Yay!
Well, and I don't blame anyone for any
Right?
of these names or places or anything, because in order to find out how Agaron's Day was correctly pronounced, and I put it in quotes because it was a stretch, I had to go to a couple of firsthand and slightly secondhand sources that are not in books,
Oh, yeah.
people who talked directly to Chris Perkins kind of thing.
Fair.
Who, like the D4 crew, who pride themselves on being as accurate to the lore as possible. I went to them and they're like, well, we found out from Chris Perkins it said Agaron's Day. So
Agaron's Day.
Garon's Day. And, but there's plenty of other things I'm sure I'm pronouncing wrong. That one's coming up next week.
Yeah.
Or Dragon Down's coming up next week. That's an easy one to pronounce.
Yeah. It is a life of D&D. I think that's
Yeah.
everything now.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Don't get me started on Liar's Night and where those apostrophes go.
Yeah, forget it. I'm done. Anyways, let's go.
I'm just gonna have something to drink and let you talk.
That.
Actually, I will say one more thing. We do have the fabulous Gabe in chat, who is our moderator for this stream. If you do have any questions about mini painting, about Idle Champions, about how to pronounce things, you can go ahead and put those in chat with question in big capital letters so that Gabe can grab it, because every once in a while we're going to be so focused on these minis that I might miss it in the actual chat. So thank you, Gabe, for all of your hard work.
Fantastic. All right, so we're going to go back to our Cyclops, and we're going to give, instead of getting this weird, like, zombie-like white eyeball, we're going to put the pupil and the iris setup going here. So what I want to do is we're going to take some goblin green. Sorry, my notes, I'm like, iris, goblin, green. What are you talking about? Like, oh, iris, the part of the eye, not iris, the color. So we're going to take goblin green, which this color is deceiving. This is not the actual color in the bottle. This is one of the pigments that loves to just hang on the outside of the bottle in the D&D prismatic paints. So if you are playing along, what you want to aim for is sort of like a nice army olive green for this one. If you're not using the D&D prismatic paints, which are from Vallejo. So let's get that going. And what we're going to do is we're going to basically create the dot for the iris. And then we're going to add in some highlight hues once we get the goblin green in, but with a different green color. So it's up to you how big you want to make that iris. I'm going to go, now I feel like I'm talking about a car, mid-size.
Mid-size iris.
And get that going. The name of the game when it comes to minis and eyes is lighting. Definitely make sure you have good lighting going.
And a deep breath.
Deep breath, steady hands, steepled hands. As you can see, I'm like putting pressure on my hands together because that helps stabilize your hands. It's called steeple, almost like you're praying. Or giving thanks, or I don't know.
Okay.
And I'm just
fortunately, I do not have a hard, this is how big the iris I really want to be, because I've just done what I feel like is a very nice circle.
Okay.
And I'm like, I'm not touching it. There we go. Done.
I'm done. I'm done. And as you can see, I've been holding upside down, even though this is a one-eyed creature, and technically my brain should be like, that's not a face. I flipped it upside down because that is a good way to trick your brain into searching for the symmetry in these miniatures, because your brain is no longer looking for the, eyes, nose, mouth pattern that we do when it comes to recognizing faces. So yeah, I've got that iris in. We want to let this dry for a little bit. We flip him back over. And now... Oh, he's looking at you. Rah! Boy, does he have things to say. All right, but we want that to dry before we move on to the next step. You can tell my second cup of coffee has just kicked in because the speed talking Jersey is coming out.
Well, we got 2 minis and we got 2 hours. Let's do this. No, it's fine. It's
fine. So what we'll do from this is let's go to the ropes. We're going to go back to the ropes. And we want to get some bone white. And we're just going to dry brush the ropes to bring the texture back out. Well, bring the texture out, not back out, but just bring it out itself. And actually... Oh, look at that. I forgot to paint one of the coins gunmetal gray. I will get to that after we dry brush. So basically the rope around the neck and then, focus, and then the ropes around the knees and ankles.
Okay.
That's what we're going to do. Just very lightly. And you'll find a smaller brush will be easier than trying to use a standard flat dry brush. Like a smaller round brush will be easier for you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so in my prep for today, because we were doing both minis, I pulled out all of the paints for the Cyclops.
Right.
And then um, I pulled out like I have the Oni paint kit, so I'd pulled out all the paint kit paints and set them
Right.
all up. And so I just have a lot of paint over
There
here. So
is
if
a
it takes me,
lot of paint. Yeah.
yeah. So if it takes me an extra second or two to find a color, that's why. Because I'm like,
Fair.
I think it's there. So
Totally fair. Yeah, I was like, well, I could get the paints out for the Oni, but all my stuff is like literally in arm's reach. And I
yeah.
realized if I have all the paints out and juggling certain animals,
Mm.
I, I,
Yeah,
I,
because
I
you know they're
wanted
gonna
to give
show
her,
up.
yeah, I wanted to give her less to literally play around with.
Yeah. Whereas I wanted the uh I wanted to be able to not have to go
Oh,
back
yeah.
into the box over there looking for stuff that I did not pull out. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, totally fair.
Um, but yeah,
I
it's been a
follow.
while since I had pulled out one of the paint night kits, and so I had fun disassembling all the little tiny parts
Oh,
and
that's what I forgot to do. Well, actually, it's probably good that I didn't, so I can show that trick on air
yeah.
for people who haven't seen it yet, because I too had the paint night kit. I found it while I was looking for some of the other minis that you and I have been chatting about, and there was the paint kit like just sitting at the bottom of the box. I'm like, oh, I did have you.
There you go.
So yeah, snagged that one so that we were on the same set together,
Yeah.
and then yeah,
Yeah, because
but
we gave the UPC number for the
both,
actual
yeah,
mini for
yep,
those who just want to get the mini and are not interested in picking up the entire kit. Um, but you had said that those are pretty much the same exact mini.
it's the same mini. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can get the mini just independently and paint it as you see fit. And I also listed all the paints that are in that paint kit. The funny thing is I looked at that paint kit. I try and make use of as many of the paints as possible in the paint kits, but frankly, I also tapped into some of our paints from the prismatic paints just to sort of give a more rounded out color palette.
Yeah.
But that's something I tend to do for those paint night kits when it's not like an official how to stream. Um, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Have a little bit more fun. We've got all these paints, might as
Well,
well
that's
use
just
them.
it. Yeah.
And also the pots have interesting names that don't always
Oh, they
match up
do.
with what we
Yeah.
have for the rest of the prismatic paints.
Oh,
So,
because they're colors outside of the prismatic paints. They're from other lines of Vallejo.
yeah.
So, yeah. Which for me, it's always fun to see. It's like, oh, yeah, I forgot about this color. I was like, all right, I had
Hmm.
that color in a different paint set. But we're using those prismatic paints so much, you kind of forget that they exist.
Yeah, I'm definitely starting to collect between a couple of the paint night kits that we've done and that original set of Vallejo paints and then the prismatic paints and all the other like little one-offs that we've
Yeah.
bought. I've definitely collected quite a few paints that I'm like, I
Hmm.
want to make sure that I try to use this version of the black to use it
Right.
up before I use this version
Yep.
of the
I
black.
do the same thing. Seriously, like when I had to base coach the big baddie that I'm using for my castle campaign, I
Hmm.
purposely went to all of my little black paint pots and I was taking Q-tips and emptying those suckers into a small mixing bowl so that I could add a little bit of the Mod Podge Ultra to it and just coat this creature as I
Yeah.
needed. And I think I cleared out 3 black paint pots.
That was impressive. That was a tongue twister out of
It
nowhere.
was. Wasn't expecting, so I emptied out 3 of those, and I felt so accomplished because I'm like, yeah, I got rid of 3 pots of paint.
Hmm. And it's kind of this weird double-edged sword with those because on the one hand, um, these they look small, but there's a lot of
There's a
paint in here.
lot.
It's
There's a
kind of like with the
significant amount.
prismatic
Yeah.
paints, they
Yeah.
look tiny, but there's just a ton, a little goes a long way. And so that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But also it means I have a ton of these just like floating in a
Yep.
bag in here,
Exactly.
just like sitting ready to go. And yeah.
It's absolutely a thing. Okay, so the iris in the eye,
Hmm.
should be dry now. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna jump into using livery green, which is this vivid
Yeah.
lime green, not quite neon green. It's a nice healthy lime green or kiwi green even. And we're gonna take that and we're not gonna put a dot on top of a dot. What we're gonna try and do is sort of like make little streaky lines across the green, just to kind of build up, like how when you look into an eye normally you can see, an iris has different striations of various colors of blue or brown, or if it's hazel you have your browns and your greens, that type of thing. So we're kind of going to build those in.
Okay.
So this
All
is
right.
this is definitely more finite work. So chat, we are definitely going to be getting quiet because that's how we do, and it's just going to get flared out because Lord knows I need light for this. It does help if you want to. You can practice on your thumbnail just to get it down to little tiny streaks.
Smallest brushes here.
Yeah. Oof. And then I'm just going to go in and just kind of stipple in these variations.
Okay, so a little bit more pokey poke and a little bit less.
Yeah, because trying to get a full sweep is going to be interesting.
By interesting,
tricky.
Yeah.
Tricky.
Okay. Deep breath.
Yep. And it helps. I just did it. It helps if you put maybe where you think the pupil's going to go, just put a green dot, like a lighter green dot, and that way you know that's where you're targeting your pupil to be. So you can keep playing around with that color.
It's so small.
It is.
All right, I think if I do any more, I'm just going to be painting this green another green.
Fair. So. Totally fair.
I don't know how much of a streak I got, but I definitely got a couple of good sized smudges.
Perfect.
Yeah, smudges would probably be.
If I can get the camera to behave.
Hey, camera.
This is a face.
Look. There we go. There we go.
An idea. Yeah.
Ooh.
All right. So now the fun thing is to take a dot of black.
Okay.
Whew. Deep breaths.
And you know what? This is an opportunity to open up the paint pot.
You were just talking about, right?
Yeah. All right. Are you going to be one of those? Let's see.
Most likely.
Maybe I won't be using the paint pot. Maybe I'm just going to be.
And maybe not.
Oh, there we go.
You okay?
Yep. I just had to give it a
encouragement.
Fingernail.
There you go. You have to give it the fingernail. Not the finger, mind you, the fingernail.
So the pots come with like the two pieces of plastic to torque. And that wasn't quite doing it. I always try to be a little careful of pushing too hard there because that's when it goes and then there's just paint everywhere.
And then it's
I was able to get my thumbnail in between the two spots just to give it a little bit of a little bit of a help.
Encouragement.
We'll put it that way. Yeah. Just like you want to just gently open.
I am leaving it at that solitary dot.
Okay.
There we go. Hold the camera. Why is this pulsing like a heartbeat today? All right, cool.
Maybe the camera's freaking out about the fact that it is a single eye and doesn't know exactly how to deal with that.
Now that we're done with the eye, once we get that dot in, because that is the last dot. Dot, done.
Okay.
So you can, we're going to go back to working on that eyebrow now. Because I wanted to leave that sort of free just in case something slipped. So there's this lovely unibrow right above. That's not a furrow brow. That is actually his eyebrow. So we're going to go back in and do the cobalt scales, and then we'll go back in and do the Tarrasque carapace on it. So we're going to go in, we're going to paint that up. And again, I'm going to hold this upside down while I do this. I just find it easier to do. But basically the eyebrow, because there's a furrowed brow. So the eyebrow itself kind of starts as almost like a horseshoe shape.
Yeah, it's much longer than
Yeah.
it initially seems to be.
And I'm literally just using the side of my brush to paint this up.
This is going to be one of those days and where when we get to the end of the show,
Keep it in frame.
My paper plate is going to be covered in little dots of paint.
Right?
Because I knew when we were working on the eye, I just needed a dot. And then we're working on the brow, and I just need a little bit. And we're working on this, I just need a little bit.
It's pointillism. What's the pointillism? Gotta love it.
Man, and it's got depth to it for sure.
It does. It really, really does.
It's like, oh, wait a second. I gotta get the top of this thing.
Mm-hmm. Seriously,
Three-dimensional eyebrow.
Why don't you want to focus today?
Yeah, I do really wonder. Is it the fact that it's just the one eye, and so the camera is...
I think it's like just enough of a face where it wants to, but then it second guesses itself.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, we'll do that, and then we shift over to the Tarrasque carapace, and we'll highlight the eyebrow.
Like you do.
Like you do. The little things we do. The things we do for paint.
Yep. Do we want to give it time to dry before we do that?
Mine's drying pretty quickly, to be honest.
Okay.
So I'm just going to go in and just do little baby streaks to break that monotony of the one color line up.
Yeah, I might wait a little bit. Mine's taking a
Totally
little bit
fair.
longer to dry.
No worries.
And I think it's half because I live in the Pacific Northwest and everything is damp all the time, but also mostly I was kind of going a back and forth to get the whole 3D of it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think at some point when we're waiting for something else to dry, I'll go back and get streaky with it.
I mustn't move. It's in focus.
That's okay. I'll show off mine, which won't focus because that's not the kind of camera that it is.
Oh my gosh. All right. But I'm very happy with how this looks now. So that's really taking care of that face for us. And then what we're going to do, going back to the cobalt scales and taking a little bit of that bone white we just used.
Okay.
On the ropes, we're going to lighten up cobalt scales. That's the carapace. What am I doing? We're going to lighten up cobalt scales just a touch, and then we're going to paint his nipples. I know.
Okay.
So you want to aim for like a tawny brown with this?
That was a sentence I wasn't expecting to hear this morning. That's okay.
It's a turn of phrase that happens when you're painting a shirtless dude.
It is anatomically correct.
Mm-hmm.
It is. There's nothing wrong with it. I just was not expecting. That's all.
Right. So
okay.
Let me see if I can get the.
Hey, everybody at home! When's the last time you've had a mini where you've had to paint the nipples? Who has a Batman from the movies from the 90s?
So that's the color you want.
Okay.
Okay. But yes, that's what we're going to do. You're just going to put a little dot of color onto them.
Okay.
So it's not going to be a drastic, change of color. You don't want to do that. But it'll help
Just a
bring that out.
little bit of highlighting.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, now all I can think of is that Batman movie from the 90s and where all of the suits had nipples, which just did not make any sense.
And everybody was
But,
like up in arms about it too.
I mean, after seeing the movie, it was not meant to be like
No.
serious Batman, serious face.
No.
But I did feel like it's also not something to be up in arms about. But it's something
No.
I make fun of on a regular basis. Because why?
Because Batman. Because he is Batman.
Batman.
Because he is
And
Batman.
Robin and Batgirl. Because it was, I believe, if I
Oh,
remember
that's right.
correctly,
All of them were
all
like.
three of them.
All of them were. Yeah, that's right. Oh, God, I forgot
Yep.
about that. Okay. Ta-da! So that's a little detail that we just took care of. And then we're also going to go back to that bone white and now the Terras carapace. And we're going to lighten that up. And we're going to do a little manicure. More bone white to the carapace than the other way around.
Okay. Where did my Jurassic carrots go? Nope. Nope. There we go. Also, hi, everybody. Sorry. We got
Heyo.
very distracted with eyes and eyebrows and uh highlights and everything. Hadn't had a chance to say hi to everybody just yet.
All right, so now we're just going to go in and do a manicure. And where you see nails, just add a touch of this color, which I should probably swatch so you can see. So it's like that kind of a color.
Okay. All right.
And just do the nails.
I hope I don't have to grab more bone white. This was going to be the last of the bone white that's on the plate, and I think that's enough.
Oh dear! Apparently, I hit some black pudding the other day. Okay. See if I can match that color right now. Enough-ish.
Yeah, Cyclops is going to have a better manicure than I will.
Right?
I'm okay with that.
Ha 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 ha. There we go. Fixed it. And we're back. Yeah, I mean, obviously with the nails, we don't want to make them a glaringly different color. But it helps just to kind of bring those nails back out as a lighter tone.
Yeah.
So you get that to show up a little bit. You can kind of see it better on the thumb.
Oh, yeah.
Just enough. Yeah.
I think the hand holding the hammer.
That's going to be pretty much the thumb.
Yeah. I can't see the other nails really, so.
Yeah, it's not worth, because those are so curled in, you're really not going to be able to get to those too well. So it's mostly just focusing on the thumb.
Yeah.
For that.
Yeah, CNE Games in chat was talking about how hard it is to do these kind of really fine details because of shaky hands.
Yeah.
Which is totally a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it's less about the shaky hands and more about I've reached that age in where I want to hold the mini here for all the details, but my eyes need me to hold the mini a little bit further away. And so I'm still kind of relearning like where my focal point is.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's totally a thing.
Yeah.
It's totally a thing. All right, so while you're doing that, I'm going to quickly get that last coin that I forgot to snag with gunmetal. There it is.
Well, and while you're doing that, I'm putting the streaks on the eyebrows. So we are both catching up.
Perfect. There is something going on with the train going by my house right now. Lots of honking of horn.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hopefully everybody's okay.
Oh, it's probably just one of those really long freight trains. Would be my guess.
Dilettante for the win says, talking about the shaky hands. Me too, but surprisingly, that got a lot better after I gave up coffee. I mean, that can be a thing. Some people, you
For
just
some
have
people,
shaky hands, and some
Yep.
people just need less caffeine.
Yep.
And Lord Daryl 817, oh, no, Lord Daryl 17. I always admire their steady hands. V talked about this before, but also what helps is the steepling, like learning how to keep the mini, like I'm not painting like this or with it further away. I've got it right here, and I'm using as much of my body as possible and extra fingers as possible to hold everything still, and that helps a lot.
Yeah.
I also, just personally, because I'm a professional musician on a wind instrument, I do have a lot of, it's not training in keeping my hands from shaking, but it's training in if I get any nerves, the nerves happen in other ways.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of kind of different ways to go about it, and depending on where the unsteadiness is happening, things that you can do.
Absolutely. So now that that's all done, we're going to move over to the club. What is this called? Is that a stone
hammer.
axe? Hammer? Hammer?
Hammer!
Hammer! That's what he's screaming. Hammer!
Hammer! I love that guy.
All right, so we're going to go over to Stonewall Gray and paint the stone. Stonewall Gray. Pardon me while I remove a Rory here.
Stonewall Gray. The other thing I would recommend, going back to the steady hands and everything, just be patient with yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Like, bodies are weird, and that kind of thing sucks. And sometimes, like I said, it's different for everybody, but sometimes you just kind of need to take a deep breath and be patient with yourself and let yourself have shaky hands for a little bit.
Yep. Go with the flow of it, quite literally.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, name of the game is just get Stonewall Gray onto the stone itself. Very tricky matching, I know. Stone to the Stonewall Gray.
One of those rare times in where the color and the purpose are matching up.
Right?
I mean, how many times have we used, like, dark flesh tone for something that has nothing to do with
Many
flesh?
times. Well, because it's just a nice, rich brown.
Yeah.
Which helps. I need a little bit more of the Stonewall Gray.
Dilettante, patience. What is this word you use? Never heard of it. Yeah, it can be hard in the moment. It can be real hard. Like I laugh, but it's true. It definitely is helpful that at the moment we're doing something that is, no one's life depends on these minis.
No.
Sometimes just remembering that, like, hey, listen, it's just a mini. It's okay. Nothing bad's gonna happen if this line is not perfectly straight.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be fine.
I mean, heck, I was playing the mini game of like, well, I need this particular type of creature. I don't have a collection of this particular type of creature, but I do have a collection of this particular type of creature, so I'm just going to turn that particular type into this particular type and call it done.
All the particular types?
Yep. I'm trying to be vague on purpose because just in case one of my players is watching, I don't want to give away what they're going to be encountering.
Yep.
But
Makes sense.
Look at little Miss Thing over here. She's like posed all perfectly. Bing! You're such a poser.
We're getting into cat time.
Uh-huh. All right, so now we're going to move over to leather brown.
Okay. Leather brown, where did I put you? You? Nope, that's hammered copper.
And that's going to go onto the wrap.
At the top of the hammer?
Yep, exactly.
Ew. Ah.
Oh, that does not sound promising.
Yeah, the top of the leather brown was
Boogie
gunky.
googie.
Yeah.
It
it's
was
okay.
boogie.
It was a little gunky. Not the end of the world. But definitely a little bit
Boogers.
of a surprise of, ugh.
Yeah,
It's
it
not
definitely is
expecting the
happening.
paint to come out like that.
Yeah, it's always fun when the paint's like, guess what I did?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you weren't looking. Look what I can do. Doop, doop, doo.
Star Chaser 43. Hammer time. I mean, I will at this point forever have the guy on TikTok and shorts, the one who dresses like a Viking going, Hammer!
Right?
Just the joy of it always gets me.
He's also just a joyful personality.
This is true. This is all very true.
Yeah.
And I know he's not the only one that does that. It's become one of those uh TikTok follow along meme kind of things, and where
Oh,
now it's
totally.
just
Yeah.
a ton of people all waiting for
Hammer.
someone to show off a cool thing, and then I'll go Hammer.
Yeah, but what a trend to have going, you know?
Yeah, shouting in joy about cool things. I'll take it.
Yeah. We need more of that, quite frankly.
Yeah. And it's all types of hammers too. The most recent one I saw was actually real cool. Because a lot of them that come up are like custom things that people have made, which are all very, very cool.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bunch of Mjolnirs,
Right.
which makes sense. But one came up recently that it looked like a Mjolnir and was very cool. But
Mm-hmm.
what it actually was the head of it opened up and there was a regular, like, human work on stuff hammer in it.
Oh, fun.
So the big hammer was a case for the little hammer.
I like it. I'm a Triska.
Yeah. It was very it was an it was a fun surprise. It
Neat.
was a hammer. Oh, Matryoshka hammers. Okay.
Yes. Okay, so that's a wrap. No, not kidding. It's really the wrap. The wrap is done.
Yep, I'm almost done. I've got a little bit more to go here. I'm trying to be good about not getting brown on the gray.
Mm-hmm. So we got that one done, and then we need to move on to... Remember how we were talking about dark flesh tone?
Yeah.
That's going on the handle.
Well, there we go.
Of course, right now I'm looking for dark flesh tone. There you are. And a little goes a long way.
Yep, my tiny dots of color on my plate continue.
Yes. My plate is very abstract on this one. So the name of the game is just take dark flesh tone and paint it onto the handle.
Come on, get in there. Yep, today it's not eyeballs. It's hammers that's keeping us
quiet
and
on the set.
Yep.
Well, I think it's also because we're concentrating, so we're not going over colors already established, especially when it comes to the flesh tone area.
Yeah.
Because that's never fun to have to fix.
Uh, Alfalker wants to know, question, is there things to look out for when using different types of paint slash oil slash other in the
Ooh.
summer with heat and direct sunlight? Also for storage, both minis and painting stuff.
Okay, well, direct sunlight is never an ideal thing for minis. Just
Mm.
flat out gonna put that there because these are heat sensitive. The plastic will start to melt if it gets in a hot enough environment. So when it comes to storage of minis, a cool, dry place will always be your friend. I tend to keep my minis in containers in a basement-like environment to help keep them from getting overheated, especially in the summertime. When it comes to different types of paint, oil, other, etc., before you start mixing your paints together, like using acrylics and oils at the same time, they may not play nicely with one another, and then you end up with this tacky, not quite drying mess.
Ew.
It's not fun. Chemical reactions, yay! Um,
Yay.
so you really want to, if you're gonna work with different types of paints together, test run it. Sometimes you're fine; you can totally get away with it. Whatever, cool. Other times, there will be some sort of chemical reaction where the paint might start to bubble, the paint might start to crack, the paint might just never dry properly. So you need to always test your paints out if you're trying to use different style of paints together. For me personally, I tend to keep acrylics with acrylics, oils with oils, enamel to enamel type of thing. Yes, there are times you can kind of go and use them as long as like the different parts you're painting are not getting layered on top of each other. Like say I wanted the hammer to be painted with oils. Like I'd keep all the oil paints on the hammer and make sure it wasn't getting on the acrylic based mini. So you just, let's see. Oh, you didn't mean to mix. I just meant if something was better at heat handling than others. No, paints when it gets hot is going to do funky things regardless. So cool, dry place ideally is where you want to make sure you're keeping your minis, especially if your minis are resin or plastic minis, because they will also do funny things just on their own without the paint. Metal minis, obviously, they can stand the heat themselves, but then you also have the metal minis heating up, so the paint's getting it from both sides.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, just, cool storage is good. I don't recommend putting minis like directly into your windows for display purposes. Like all of my minis that are out on display, they are not in direct sunlight type of situations. It's filtered and diffused.
Yeah. I have some minis back there on display, but they only get really direct sunlight for like 30 minutes during the summer
Right.
because every once in a while the sun just happens to come out in the summer and that's when it just happens to be pointed in the right direction. But it's very, very short
Yeah.
and quick. And it's usually going through curtains and other things, so I'm not usually that worried. I have noticed, because oftentimes, especially if it is especially sunny outside,
Mm-hmm.
I will use my windowsill to take pictures of the minis,
Oh yeah.
because you get all the really cool, good natural light.
Yeah.
And if it takes me too long to do what I'm doing, I can definitely feel the mini being like,
Warming up.
okay, all right, are we done yet?
Oh, okay. Yeah. See, if that was the question. Okay, so if you're going to bring paint with you to a cabin without air conditioning, um,
Mm,
yeah, just make sure if there's like a cooler place in the cabin, like God, it depends on the cabin's build too. Like if the cabin were to have like a root cellar, you could keep them in there
oh
while you
yeah.
weren't using it. Or like if there was a dock with like a dock house, you could put your paints in the dock house because the water usually keeps those cooler. The water underneath, I mean, not don't
Yeah.
dunk them in water. So maybe you can like find a place at the cabin locale that tends to be cool, or just dig a hole. You could just do that. Just dig a 2-foot hole.
Or, you know, just
I'm
just be a
trying to
dwarf
problem
and
solve.
diggy diggy hole.
Diggy diggy hole.
Of all the things I was expecting you to say or thinking you might say or talk about, just dig a hole was not
Not on your
on.
radar.
Yeah, yeah. Let's paint the nipples and dig a hole.
What is this, Coachella?
Exactly. It totally makes sense in context, but
Yeah.
like the you could just dig a hole. Wait, what?
Yeah. Or the Shire. Yeah, if you have a Shire house, you're set. Um, yeah, root cellar style area would be a cool thing. Or yeah, dig a hole. When in doubt, dig a hole.
hmm I love it. I love it so much. Hey, everybody! I'll be back in about a minute or two. I gotta go
Just
bury my
dig a hole.
paints.
Just gonna go diggy hole. Oh gosh. Fun. Too much fun. All right, so then I want that handle to dry before I dry brush it, but the stone and the wrap are dry on my end. I'm not sure about you.
Uh, Let us check.
Let us check.
The stone is the wrap is still working on it.
Still a little okay. So then I'm gonna hold off on dry brushing any of that. Let's get going with the base. So let's take that dark flesh tone and we're gonna mix some goblin green into it. Just to make
Okay.
like this nice muddyish brown, earthy, mossy color.
Goblin green, where did you go?
And we're gonna paint that onto the
There.
base. We're all about that base. About that base.
I'm definitely gonna want a larger paintbrush than that.
Yeah. What did I do with my? There it is. It went away. Not me realizing that my dark flesh tone was actually always getting used up.
I'm catching up with chat here.
Mm-hmm.
See, so, Lord Daryl, V's laughing is the best.
Thank
Alfalker,
you.
it's one of the winter survival tips after all. Yeah, absolutely, winter or summer. The lesbian witch won. I'm closing in on 1,000 hours on Idle Champions. Hey, congratulations.
Sweet.
Hope you have been having fun.
Yeah.
I need to mix these. I can't just start.
Mixy paint.
Yep.
Okay, so I have like this nice little mossy greenish blend going on that I'm gonna put onto the base.
Okay. This needs a little bit of water.
Is it thick and zesty?
A little bit.
A little bit.
A little bit. Once I mixed the two together, it got a little thicky.
Little.
Especially for the first
Actually.
layer down on something.
Now that you mentioned, I'm looking at mine start to seize up. I'm like, well, let's add some water.
Yeah.
The colors are like friend. Okay, there we go. I like that. Bloop. So while we let things dry, start working on that base.
And now the challenge of being.
Edging around the boots.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm definitely glad that we're doing the base on a different day than we did the boots because it's a lot easier with the super dry boots to really get a
yeah.
nice edge.
Yeah. Well, and again, that's where like not rushing the mini does help.
Absolutely. Once again, just take your time.
Mm-hmm.
Give yourself some grace. Go have a decaf coffee.
Decaf.
Decaf. I do really like coffee. I just haven't really had the chance to drink it that much because Luke doesn't like coffee.
Oh, there you go.
He likes the smell of it, so it's not like I can't make it. And I don't really have like a coffee machine or anything. So if I'm gonna make coffee, it's kind of I'm making it
Yeah.
old school.
Mm-hmm. See, my tired, lazy self in the morning, I've actually started doing like instant coffee, just when it's just me.
Yeah.
And then like when I have friends over and that type of stuff, then it's worth brewing a pot because it's not just me having to finish it up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've become a fan of, instant coffee grounds. What's that
Absolutely.
World World Trader, World Traveler. Oh, we saw them at PAX West last year. We were with Tanya and Jasmine, and we bought like coffee and tea from them. And they had cute little mouse pads
Oh,
and stuff.
yeah.
They
Yeah, with like the
have,
pastels and
yes, and it's
everything.
like beautiful
Okay.
artwork, and there's cats always in all the artwork. Cat silhouettes.
Yes.
I want to say World Trader Coffee, I think. Um,
Maybe. I
World
can
something.
picture it. Yeah.
But their instant coffee packets
Are good?
so good. Like,
Oh,
so
good.
good. So it's like one of
Because
those
I just gave
things
into their
that's like,
tea, so I hadn't given into the coffee.
oh,
But ooh,
the coffee's very yum. The coffee is super yum. And now I feel bad that I
that's
can't
good to
remember their
know.
name. Hold on. I follow them on Instagram.
Ah,
Let me look.
there you go.
Let me look.
I'm glad you thought of that because I'm thinking back to like, okay, well, at this very moment, the only way that I could really figure out what the name of this is to go walk into my kitchen and pull out some of the tea, and I'll
Mm-hmm.
have it listed there, but that kind of defeats the purpose of doing a stream.
Right?
It's like, hold on, everybody, I'm gonna walk away now.
All right. I can't. I have the name completely wrong. I have their tote. I will be right back because I know where the tote's hanging and their name's on
Okay.
it.
And I'm picturing, so for those who were able to see
Okay.
their display, it was this adorable like sort
It's
of
so
pinks
good.
and blues and very very almost pastel, almost pastel.
Almost.
All right, what we got?
Many Worlds Tavern.
Oh
Many
yeah.
Worlds Tavern. Seriously, go and check out this group.
Yeah.
Such good coffees. Their instant
And
coffee
teas.
is nummy, and their teas. Yeah, Lauren can speak to the teas. I can speak to the coffees, and they
Mm-hmm.
have some really cool merchandise and artwork. So definitely worth finding them. They are on Instagram. I think they're on Twitter. I say with a big question mark on my mind. So yeah, go and give them a look. See, it's one of those things where next time I am out and about, I need to stop by again at one of the
Get some more.
conventions and get more. Yeah,
Yeah.
because that's kind of like, especially if it's PAX Unplugged, it'll be like little present for myself for the holidays.
Exactly. And also knowing that it's that good of an instant coffee,
Mm-hmm.
then being able to buy some and then have some for the weekend
That's
without having
just
to
it.
worry
Yeah.
about like, getting expensive coffee
Mm-hmm.
somewhere
Mm-hmm.
or using, whatever hotel room. Do that.
Yeah. Oh, hi.
Sorry.
Rory is
My-
headbutting me right now.
Oh, yep. We've reached the halfway point of the stream. So, hi, everybody, and
Ta-da.
welcome in from Idle Champions. You have joined us as we are finishing up a Cyclops, and the cats have arrived.
Yes, she has.
Frankly, the fact that they waited a whole hour is very impressive.
It is. It is. Like, all right, fine. If this is what's going to happen, this is what's going to happen. I'll take it.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just make sure. All right, so that's the base pretty much painted up for me. Let me rinse my brush.
Yep, I'm just looking for any missed spots.
What are we doing here, girlie?
Anything I want.
No. It's not a toy. It's a
It
bottle
is
of paint.
now.
It's a bottle of paint, baby girl.
Everything the light touches is
Is
mine.
toy? Oh, shit.
Is toy for me.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, sniff a Sharpie. That's great. Don't do that. Okay, so
Hey,
now
kids,
that we have the
don't
base,
do what your cats are doing.
Don't do what the cat just did, please. I just realized I missed a spot.
We like your brain. Please don't sniff Sharpies.
Of course, like the Sharpie was the first thing I grabbed. I didn't think she was gonna be like, "Oh, what this?" and then go to sniff it.
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's go back to the hammer, and we're gonna dry brush the stone and the wrap lightly with bone white
Okay.
to bring out those details.
On white.
What?
Yes. So Star Chaser 43, I do actually have an old I have two. Well, I had two old school French presses. I had a
Oh, I
bigger
love my
one.
French press.
And then I had, which I almost never ended up using because once again, I'm the only one in the current house who likes coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I had a small one, a glass one that I really, really liked that I used for both coffee and tea.
Nice.
And the reason I really liked it was because it was a really nice glass one and it was single serving. So um
Oh, like
it
what
literally
Fridays
was I'm
have?
going to make yes, that
Yeah.
was exactly what it was.
Love their French presses.
It was so good
Yeah.
until it hit the floor.
Ooh, yep. That's how I lost my glass one.
Yep.
It
Just
rolled away in kerplash.
yep,
However,
had
I
a
found a nice stainless steel French press that I love, and it cleans
ooh.
beautifully.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. And it keeps the coffee warm longer because of the stainless steel.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because that was one of the nice things about the glass one is how nice it kept everything clean.
Yeah.
But it definitely wasn't keeping everything warm,
Right. Yeah.
which
Okay.
is fine. Like the whole purpose of the press is not to be a container, it's to be a thing to make the tea.
Right. Okay, so that's the hammer and the ropes dry brush. And then we're going to want to do the shaft with leather brown.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I have a percolator for coffee, like if it's a whole bunch of friends over, and if it's just myself and like a friend or two, I'll use my French press.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only reason that I haven't replaced that little adorable little French press is because I just don't have coffee that
Yeah,
often.
that's totally fair.
Um, it tends to be this is gonna sound so hoity-toity. This is gonna sound so much like oh, very fancy. I tend to only want
Fancy.
coffee when as like an after dinner thing, like
Makes
the
sense to
really
me.
nice post dinner
Oh,
coffee.
yeah.
Where the heck is my leather brown? Which does tend to be a fancy coffee. So it tends to be the thing that I'll get after, like if we go out to dinner, which is it's been a hot minute since we've done.
Mm-hmm.
Um, where is my leather brown? There you are. Jeez.
I was going to say, did Rory get over there?
Is one of your cats here? What
Right?
happened? Nope, I just hadn't reached out for it yet. Okay.
There we go. This starts giving it more of that worn wood look by doing this.
Is that a spot I missed on on the haft of the
Oh,
hammer?
dear. Oh, dear.
How did I miss a whole spot?
Sorry, I'm having technical difficulties with my rolling chair.
Oh,
No, it's like I want to roll in one direction. It's taking me on the diagonal, so I think the wheels got turned at some point.
it happens.
I'm like, wait, no, I'm going east. I want to go north.
Yeah.
All right. So we want that hammer to dry, and then
There we go.
now we're gonna go to Goblin Green again. We're gonna dry brush the base with Goblin Green.
Okay. Bigger dry brush time.
Mm-hmm.
Yay. Where did I put my goblin green? There you are.
Goblin Green.
Yeah, the next time I get a chance to go into the city, and or the next time I'm at a convention that Friday afternoon is going to be at, I'll definitely look back into
Oh yeah.
getting another one of those French presses because it was lovely. And
Yeah.
the little one worked so well for both coffee and loose leaf tea.
Yeah. It's nice when you have that ability.
Yep. Which is definitely helpful when you're like me, and I know I am, and where if you have a cup of tea and it's too big of a cup, you can't get through it before it gets cold.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, the moments of I'm making tea, I have made tea, I have forgotten I've made tea, there is now a cup of tea I have made sitting somewhere getting cold because I have forgotten that I've made
Too
tea.
real.
That's a whole other problem
Yep.
to deal with.
I did that last night. I got up this morning, I looked down, I'm like, oh, I forgot I made that. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yep. There we go. Speaking of having some, it's not tea, but
Yeah, still, it's something to drink and enjoy.
mm, that's my ginger ale. That makes me happy. Okay, that paper towel is it's been used enough.
Paper towel has served its time.
Yep.
Ah?
So I'm using the box that the Oni Paint Night kit is that
Yes.
box
Yes.
as the place to put, the detritus from this whole adventure.
Gotcha.
Mostly the wet paper towels.
Okay.
It keeps wanting to fall over, and I have a floor I don't want covered in wet paper towels.
There.
Excuse me for a moment.
Go for it. All right, we are getting there.
All right, there we go.
So you can see that gives a nice little woodsy floor look.
Yeah.
All right, I think the sunlight has shifted on me, and the mini camera needs some tweaks. We're getting that time of year again, where the sun hits this house in front of my house, and because the house in front of my house is white, when the sun hits,
so you get like the moon effect going.
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of nice, but also in this case not as useful.
No, it's one of those things. It's like, excuse you.
I've got blackout curtains for when ironically enough, the blackout curtains are sometimes for the sun when I'm doing live streams. Oftentimes what they are is because there's a parking lot right here, and if I don't use the blackout curtains during live streams, at least enough to block me, then someone, especially when it's like dusky, will come driving on in and have their headlights on as a normal person would, and then all of a sudden I've got just headlights right here. And then there's also a couple of far enough lights that every once in a while we'll get a bounce back. So I often use the blackout curtains just enough to like get to here, which is why you can now see my backdrop getting more and more sun as the day goes on. Okay.
Yeah, the problem for me is the cats will bat the curtains around, so even though I have the curtains closed, they open them back up.
They'll just have fun.
Yep, exactly.
Barefoot Monkey says, "Hi, I see the Frycopolis. Thank you.
Yeah.
For some reason, that was not a word that was coming out of my mouth. It's looking like, pretty good.
Thank you.
Brain's like, I know what those words all mean, or those letters all mean together. I know the fun joke that you're making. My mouth has decided not to say that word. Nope. Oh well.
Nope. Okay, so now we want this to dry a little bit before we do any washing, especially with the base we just did and the hammer we just did. So I'm going to set Cyclops over there. And
is it time?
It's time to start chatting about what we're going to be working on next. And this is the Nolzur's Marvelous Miniatures. It's the Oni paint kit, which I can't get into. There we go. So this comes with a whole bunch of supplies in it. It's the Nolzur's Marvelous Miniatures line. This is something you definitely would probably need to check out dndmini.com if you want to get the kit itself, because this is sort of like one of those things where not every single FLGS may have it on hand. So you get in this kit a whole bunch of goodies. You get the miniature itself, you get brushes, a water pot, Vallejo colors, and those are all the colors, which I have also put into the list that Lauren has put into our Discord, in addition to the colors that I have pulled from our prismatic paint line. The cool thing is when you open up this kit, you get basically a palette and all of your paints that are wrapped in these plastic things, a couple of paint brushes. You get these 3 wells for mixing. This is what the water pot is, although I will tell you this right now, these are right handy and helpful when you need another mini paint or a mini painting holder. Just put tack on top and ta-da. So obviously I'm not going to be using this, but I will be saving it for other miniature purposes, so that's going to go over there. But
mine has become the thing I actually put the tack in that I use for the top of these.
That too. That's what I've done with
Perfect
that too.
size.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop these sleeves off the colors, and you can pretty much do this whole mini using the colors that are provided in the kit. In fact, on the side, you will see there's a QR code that takes you to Den of Imagination's tutorial on YouTube that'll walk you through how to do it. However, I purposely did not watch it so that we could have our own version, because what I didn't want to do is be like, let me watch what they did and then do what they did here, and that doesn't feel fair to me.
Like, that tutorial's already out there.
That tutorial's already out there. If you want to do what Den of Imagination did, totally cool. If you want to hang out with us over the next few episodes, why is this not open? You are more than welcome to chill out here with us while we go through and start painting this using the colors that are in the kit, as well as colors that are from our prismatic paint sets, both intermediate and beginner. So here
but
you can see.
But it is nice that those paint kits come literally with everything you need.
Yeah.
And like we were talking about earlier, the paint pots it's a lot of paint.
Yes.
And so if you're looking for like, hey, I want an all-in-one kit to start getting into mini painting, the paint night kits are amazing because they literally have everything, and then there's enough paint and the paint brushes that you can paint other minis as well.
And as you can see, they all come nicely labeled on top, so you know which color is which color. What I recommend doing, because while this is nice to have them all lined up together for shipping and packaging purposes, for actual painting purposes, this can start to be a little bit of a pain because opening up these lids, they are tight. It's very easy to pop open one lid and accidentally catch the other lid, or maybe another one wasn't there, and it just gets messy. Yeah. So grab yourselves a pair of scissors and just literally trim these apart.
Into individuals. Yay.
It's so much better that way.
Today I am the version of the cooking show and where they're like, and so now I've got one already prepared in the oven.
Right.
I'm the person who prepared these ahead of time, so I've already done the cutting.
So here we go.
V makes a good point about showing, because it's one of those things in where it makes such sense once you know about it. But if you don't know about it, it makes sense you wouldn't do it.
Yeah. So, okay, so I'm going to bring this palette back out, and even though these paints have been chopped apart, you have these little wells here in the front. So I'm just going to go through and pop these back in when they aren't being used. And yes, they will all fit back in. It was 6 across for each of them. So grab 6 paint pots and just plop them in. And that way it still contains them, but you can grab and go individually, which makes it so much easier when the time comes. But with that being said, our Cyclops should be dry enough now to do a wash. So let's get that taken care of before we actually jump into the Oni. So we want the umber.
Okay.
Umber wash for this one.
Here's the ASMR of the shaking. It might be too soft for people to hear, but it's I've used enough of this wash now, and it's a wash, so it's not so it's very thin, and where it's got that very pleasing swooshy sound.
Yes. So I'm gonna actually thin this wash out.
Oh.
Because we're going to put some of this over on this flesh first. And then we'll do straight up wash on the rest of the mini itself. So I want to thin out the wash that's going to go onto the skin.
Okay.
Because I want it just to hint to it. I don't want it to really obliterate all that work we just put in. So I did like 7 drops of wash to 5 drops of water for my... So 2 parts to 3 parts-ish. And
All
then we'll
right.
put that onto the skin. And actually, I just used my water pot for that because I realized my paper plate does not have enough space for mixing a wash.
I'm doing okay, which unfortunately I can't show that anymore because now that I put a wash on there, if I hold the paper plate up,
Yeah.
it'll go and be everywhere.
Right?
Uh, thus is the problem with paper plates, but also, they're easy to use.
Yep. So I'm taking this thinned out wash and I'm putting it onto the skin of the Cyclops, including like into the mouth and not across the eye. I want to avoid the eye because I don't want the eye to look jaundiced.
Mm.
But basically, anywhere there is a fleshy tone, that's where this thinned out version of the umber wash is going, which is basically a brown wash for those wondering what's the difference. Really, it's brown.
Yeah.
Reason I am not doing a black wash like a Nuln oil is that would not play nicely with the warm tones of the skin that we've been doing. And I don't want to lose that.
And I did see we had an incredibly important question come on in that
Oh,
we cannot wait too long. Lesbian witch wants to know, an ice cream truck stops by. You can only get one item. What are you getting? This is very
nothing.
important and on topic.
Nothing. I can't have ice cream.
Well, so let us assume that this is one of the best ice cream trucks that has the dairy-free versions of ice cream, the stuff that you
Oh,
can
okay.
get.
Okay.
Let's
So a
Because
magical
honestly, the
unicorn
thing
ice
I'm
cream.
about to say is it might not be in a regular ice cream truck. So yeah. I mean,
Okay.
in this hypothetical, we should all have fun.
So in that case, it would be like a pistachio. I love
Ooh.
pistachio ice cream and gelato. Yum.
Mm. I am going with the classic mint chocolate chip.
We
If it's
both went
mint chocolate
green.
chip, yep. And if it's coming from an ice cream truck, it probably is that neon green, which I'm
Yeah.
okay with.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, mint chocolate chip all the way.
Classic.
How about all you in chat? Ice cream
Yeah, I
truck
want
has
to know
come
what
by. What
chat's
you
gonna
getting?
do.
Yeah. And also, if anyone can think of because I know at least when I was growing up, the ice cream trucks that would come around wouldn't just have just here's scoops of ice cream, but they had like
Various popsicles and stuff.
exactly.
Ooh.
I also do really like here's like a really good vanilla
Mm.
cone
Mm-hmm.
dipped in the chocolate so it does that hard shell
Oh
over.
yeah. That's always
Those
yummy.
those are always real nice. But
Yeah.
but it has to be a real good vanilla. It has to be
Mm-hmm.
it has to be an ice cream truck that you trust to have
Yeah.
decent ice cream.
Yeah,
But
this
if it
is true.
does, oh, so good.
Oh, I forgot to mention, it's just going to be easier to put this over the ropes as well. So like the
Oh yeah,
necklace
trying
and
to
the
get
ropes.
around the
Yeah,
ropes could be
yeah.
difficult.
Don't get that fussy. I meant to mention it's okay to do the ropes with this as well. And don't forget to get under the undercarriage.
Nighthawk78 says I would get a cornetto slash drumstick. Oh
Ooh,
yeah,
those are fun,
drumsticks. I haven't thought about those in forever.
right?
It's just starting to get warm enough around here to be thinking about ice cream. Like middle of the day, height of the sun,
Mm-hmm.
just uh oh, I forgot about getting under the skirt.
Yep. Don't forget the undercarriage.
Yep. As I'm starting on the legs, it's like, oh yeah.
All right, so
Oh
that's
yeah, I gotta go
the
all the way over
flesh tone
there.
now with the very thinned out umber wash. And now I'm going to switch to just a full throttle wash, and I'll do like the hair, the hammer, the wraps, and the base with the full throttle wash.
Okay. I'm just doing a little bit of clean up here in
Yeah.
a couple places where it's gathered a bit too much.
do.
Okay. So you said basically everywhere else, the hair, the hammer, the base?
Yep.
Okay.
Hair, hammer, base. And the
Alright.
wraps. The wraps and tunic, I should say. Or not tunic, loincloth.
Let's see. I guess I'll start with the hair. Trying to decide which end to start at, and I'm like, well, that's still a little wet. Well, that's still a little wet. Well, I just did a
Yeah.
wash, so everything is still
Everything's still a little bit. No, young lady, you stay there.
I mean, Moinulu, if you can get the entire truck, you would then become the most popular person in the neighborhood.
Right?
If you owned your own ice cream truck. I know there are people who that's a dream right there. I just want to own my own ice cream truck. I did not know. And then once I found out, I'm like, well, this totally makes sense. You can essentially rent ice cream
Oh,
trucks
yeah.
for events.
Yeah.
And I did not know this until I was watching, it was an older loading ready run video that I don't even remember offhand what the video was about, but it included them all just like hanging out at a park. I think it was an event happening in the Victoria area. And part of the thing that they were doing, just them, is they had rented an ice cream truck.
That's so fun,
And
though.
so it was like, okay, for these 2 hours, this truck is ours. And so it's like instant serve ice cream from the ice cream truck. And I'm like,
Fun.
that's kind of amazing.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that I never would have thought about until that moment. And then I'm like, well, that makes sense. And also now I want that.
Yep. Yep. That becomes a thing.
Yep. Like something that is probably not really that expensive to do, but feels so luxurious to
Feels very
be
bougie.
like, yeah, there. Once again, like the coffee after the food. It's like, is it really bougie? No, not really, but it kind of feels that
Yeah.
way. Being like, this ice cream truck is ours for an hour. I have secured its services.
Hmm. The most popular person on the block.
Hopefully, though, you would be one of those people who actually plays real music instead of
Dun, dun,
um
dun, 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 dun.
you know what? I'm even okay with
Oh,
like,
yeah?
bad, just like the Papa Goes the Weasel kind of thing. What I mean is like every ice cream truck that was around when I was growing up, it was as if the PA system they were using
Was
was
janky?
low, not even janky, just like low on battery or something, because they would all be
Okay.
just not just out of tune, but a little too slow, but then also do that weird thing of like, and then it speeds up a little bit and slows down. It was horror movie-esque
Yes, I know
how
what you're talking
bad it
about. Yeah.
was. And that was just the way the ice cream truck worked. And I was always like, I like this ice cream truck, and they've got good stuff, and they come around the same time during the summer, and the people who work it are super nice, and like everything else, top tier ice cream truck. Thank you. Would come
Right.
again. Except
Right.
the music was like, oh, the Candy Man has arrived with Jason and
Mm-hmm.
Freddy, and we're
Mm-hmm.
all about to die.
Yep. No, I know exactly what you're talking about there, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
That, like, music box that's been dropped about one too many times and notes quite
Yeah.
aren't quite right anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Not the Doppler effect, Monolou. No.
But we know what you're talking about,
Yeah.
and that would even make it worse. But no,
That
like
that heightened
stationary
it.
truck, yeah, stationary
Yeah.
truck standing in front of it, and it's going. Ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-da-da-da-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum,
Yep.
ba-da. And it's
Yep.
like, okay, all right, the girl from The Ring is gonna appear any moment now. What's going on?
Oh God, there's a call. Jeez Louise. That one, that I would rather deal with Freddy Krueger than the girl from The Ring.
Mm-hmm.
There's just something highly unsettling about that particular horror creature.
Yeah. Oh, Snapdad says, or when the ice cream truck doesn't even slow down, totally confusing with weird tunes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the
This
one
is
by me
true.
would also play like for Elise and some other,
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
popular-ish classical music tunes. And of course, I was a burgeoning classical music child. And so that was always an extra bit of horror. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, this is the moment they talk about when you're watching a horror movie and the music gets all scary and the characters in the movie can't hear the soundtrack because it's not
Right.
diegetic music, but still it's like, can't you hear the strings? They're telling you to get out of there.
Right.
Like, I should listen to this music. I've been told all my life, if I hear the horror music, I should leave.
Okay, so have you seen this fantastic reel that's going around where this guy is dressed as Freddy Krueger? Or was it Michael? I think it was Michael. The guy with the hockey mask, that's Michael, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So had the Michael mask
Oh,
on
not
and
the
everything.
hockey mask. I'm sorry. Michael has
Who's
the white pullover mask. The hockey mask is Jason.
Okay, so it was Jason, I want to say. So thank you. Yes. Oh, Snapdad just confirmed. So like driving around looking like Jason in like their white van with no windows type of thing. And what
Oh,
they do is they record the people that they pull up to and look at the various reactions. And the way some of these people, they look over and they don't even care if they're parked at a stoplight. They are clearing out
they're gone.
as
Yeah.
fast as possible. Like they're not waiting for the call to come inside the house. They're just like, nope.
Well, and that's a double whammy for people of our age
Right?
because we grew up in the age in where the idea was as children you were going to be kidnapped by people in an unmarked white van offering you candy,
Mm-hmm.
which was a
Mm-hmm.
complete fabrication.
Yeah.
That's not how it works. That's not how any of that works. But that was what the news would warn you about. They'd be like,
Yeah.
don't talk to strangers. Someone offers you candy and then you're getting like shoved into an unmarked white van. So then for an unmarked white van to be driven by any of the horror movie icons, but especially Jason,
Yeah.
yeah, I'd be gone.
Yeah.
I'd
Yeah,
be
that was just,
gone.
it was just like, I'm like, okay, you can tell who would survive the horror movie itself by how quickly they got away. Like,
Yep.
there were some
How
people like, yo, sup, that's cool. And it's just like, you're dead. You're done.
some people have a better they
Self
have more hope.
preservation?
Well, they're they have more confidence that they are in reality and not in a horror movie. I don't have that kind of confidence. I'm nope. I'm gone.
I'm gone.
Mm-mm.
I am like, I'm taking turns to make sure they're not following me, debating how I switched my license plates. Like, that's how
Mm-hmm.
gone I would be.
Yep.
Okay, but here is our lovely Cyclops, all set and done and washed. Definitely want to let him dry. I'm gingerly handling this to make sure it's
Yeah.
not sticking to me. So I'm going to put this up here on my little leveled up shelf to let that dry. And I think what we'll do now is we have about 20 minutes left. So we'll
Yeah.
start working on this Oni. And again, this is from the Paint Night kit, but you can get this mini on its own. It's not one you have to get the Paint Night kit from situation. So with that being said, what I want to start with, that's always the fun thing. Look at my notes. I say let's jump into painting. Let's start with the skin. So we're going to take that turquoise mixed with azure.
Okay.
So these two colors.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, these are colors from the Paint Night kit itself.
Dark blue and turquoise.
Yep. Oh boy.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
need to mix my turquoise because that is not. So if your paint you open up and it looks like an oil slick, mix it, please. And there we go. I'm actually just going to use the end of this brush to take a few dollops of the turquoise out. So I'm going to do, I think I'm going to do equal parts azure to turquoise. Or as equal parts as you can get it. One glob to another glob.
Yep, it's a little hard to get an exact measurement
Yeah.
when you're dealing with the little pots. But, you know, not nothing is perfect.
No.
And that's just what you got to deal with these things.
We're shooting for a target color.
There we go. Oh, wow, the purple is...
Azure is definitely... Almost looks like a sky. Look at that. Like a cloud in the sky.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Meanwhile, I just pulled out the purple, or the dark blue, which looks
purple.
Very purple.
Yeah, once you mix it, then it's like, hello, I am this color. Ah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, see, this is glopping differently. So, I'm going to do what I can here.
Yeah. Come on. Open up. Come on. I don't know why I always end up contorting myself in a weird way when I'm opening up these pots, but it happens
It's
every
the
time.
fear of getting something on you.
Probably. And then also just, I don't know, I just end up like, in a weird way.
Yeah.
It's unhelpful. Hey kids, don't do what I do.
Right. All right, so once I get this nicely mixed together, I'll do a swatch so you can see what it's turned into.
Okay, so it's the half, like
Half and
azure,
half, yeah.
Half. Is it dark blue or is it purple or turquoise? Like, what is it?
Turquoise? It's a dark teal, which can be
Okay.
argued green or blue.
Okay. Because, yeah, the one that I got listed as dark blue honestly looks purple to me.
Oh, yeah.
The one that's listed as turquoise looks blue to me.
Yep.
And this one is like a lavender. This
It's like a
azure.
lavender. Mm-hmm. Yep. No, that's kind of how it tracks. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. I feel less like I've just failed at colors.
No. No, you have not. So this is, I'm going to swatch it first before I thin it out. This is the color we're going for.
Okay, I need some more azure.
Yeah.
Azure.
And
That should be
thin
enough.
it. Couple of drops of water to thin. And I mixed up way more than I will probably need for this little mini, but better to have more when you're mixing a color up than not enough.
Exactly.
Always overshoot if you can.
Well, and I also did that by accident simply because I thought I had a 1-to-1. It's like, nope, I need more of this one color.
Yeah.
I think Via's already mentioned this, but if not, it's good to re-mention. I highly recommend when you're using these pots, unless you are 100% sure you're immediately going to be dipping a brush back in there, close them.
Close them. Just don't.
Close them when you're done.
Don't
It's
do it.
asking for trouble otherwise.
Yeah. No, it's true. Okay, so with that being said, I'm going to take this new color and apply it to the skin of the Oni. So this is going to be like the arms, the face, all of that.
I need a bit of water. That is still...
Too thick?
Yeah, it's still too thick. There we go. The arms, the face. The legs
The
have
feet,
stuff on them.
Yeah, though the legs will need it too, because there's sort of like this shin guard thing going on, and then that's exposed and that's exposed. So there is some exposed skin on the legs.
Okay.
So when I get to those, I'll show you where the skin patches are. That sounds wrong. Where the exposed skin is.
I mean, skin patches is not wrong. It's just not an appetizing way to say that.
Right? It just sounds, questionable.
Listen, this is the show that we're coming off of and where we're talking about things like, you know, highlighting the nipples and burying your paints.
Mm-hmm.
So really, it's just we're just on brand.
True. That moment where you wonder, are we the horror movie? I'm not being too precious about getting this onto the clothes, because that'll help fill in the joint area, the seam areas, I guess, where they meet the skin, so you don't have these weird, odd white lines.
Okay,
So if you get a little bit onto other spots, that's okay. That's why we're starting with the skin.
that's good because yeah, this is already a bit of a challenge.
Yeah.
Mostly just doing the gear switching to a much smaller mini. I've grabbed too big of a brush
Mm,
already, which is okay.
yeah.
I'll shift down in just a second once I get the paint off of this
Yeah.
brush.
Yeah. That's all you have to do. I have a feeling we'll probably get the skin done and then call it for the day.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Let's go to you. Oh yeah, much better.
Now you may find with the glaive that she's holding that it's bowing on you. Mine, I
Mm.
already tried to do a heat fix on this one, but it's very slender stuff. So it kind of seems to just want to bow on its own.
Yeah.
So just a heads up on that one. I'm going to try to do another round of hot water, cold water treatment and see if that helps. Sometimes you have to do it a couple times for it to take. But if yours comes out like that, that's not unheard of.
Whereas mine had it. It's
Mm-hmm.
got a little bit. It's gonna be hard to once again tell on my camera. It's got a little bit of it, but it was one of those like this is going to be more of a pain to try to fix this than it is to just deal with the fact that it's not going to be perfectly straight, which is
Yeah.
fine. Mine will just be more of an action pose, more of a spear in flight
It's like that
kind of.
anime esque
Yep.
animation trick that they do.
Yep.
Uh, I like Lord Darrell's comment about the blue. It's Smurf blue. You know, you're not wrong. This is
Yeah,
kind of Smurf blue.
absolutely. However, once we do a bit more of this creature, I
Oh,
think
yeah.
you're not going to be thinking about Smurfs for long because Onis are wicked.
Mm-hmm.
They are very dangerous creatures,
Mm-hmm.
unlike Smurfs.
Yeah, they're nasty. Not Smurfs.
Hmm.
The Onis are. Smurfs are delightful.
I, honestly, I was never really a fan of Smurfs when I was growing up. That
Really?
was not a cartoon I was into.
I watched it. Na 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 na.
Why am I having a problem getting under the chin? This
The
is
chin
not.
is tricky. No, the chin is tricky. I had an issue too. It's not you. It's the mini.
It's not like this is an armpit or anything. Come on.
Right. So yeah, as you can see, I'm not being precious about getting this blue onto other things because I want to get the skin done first as we start building out.
Hmm.
Hi, little girl. Rory keeps tapping my upper leg with her little paw like, pardon me, excuse me.
Okay, it's time. It's
Countdown
time
has
for you to pay
started.
attention to me.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh. And it's a good thing I'm not being precious because someone just banged my chair and I whoops-a-daisied.
Ah,
It's okay. I'm not too worried about getting on the pants because of the pants color coming up.
it's okay. I can do my own whoopsie daisy.
Right? Oh, she's squeaking. Hi. They can't see you or hear you.
But we can imagine. I
She's
gotta get us
breaking
some
out all
kitty
the
emotes.
stops. She's like giving me her big, sad Puss in Boot eyes. She's tapping me with her little paw. She's doing her
Aw.
polite little me sounds
Mm-hmm.
because she's hungry. Oh, and you've brought Hemingway into the mix. Dang it, 2 against 1.
They're
He just came
ganging
sauntering
up on
in.
you now.
They are. They do.
That's true.
Yes.
Mulnulu, Smurfs are dangerous for Gargamel. That is true.
What was the cat's name?
Oh, Aslan.
Aslan, that's right.
And
I
I
should know that.
so here's the thing. And I'm sure you have, but for those at home who've not looked up the inspiration for the Smurfs, the original stories that were used to become the Smurfs,
Uh-huh.
go go read about them. Like a lot of folk tales, especially from that time of human existence, they're horrifying. What Smurfs actually are
Are they
in the
based off of
stories, not
red
in the cartoon.
caps?
And the tale that I've been told was they're not red caps. They're based off of I'll put this in a roundabout way. It is incredibly cold a lot of the time of the year where these stories grew up, where these stories
Uh-huh.
came, and children who get lost in the woods, because of course a lot of these stories are they're don't go out in the woods, don't go out in the woods,
Oh,
don't go out
yeah,
in
of
the woods.
course. Yeah. Woods are
If you
dangerous.
get stuck out in the woods and it's snowing and cold, guess what happens to you?
Children turn into Smurfs?
Well, they um how do they put it on TikTok? They are no longer um they're no longer children. They expire and they've gone and then they come back as Smurfs. And they are, yeah. Oh, it's a horrifying story. Uh-huh, uh-huh. I don't remember the original country of origin or area of origin, but yeah, it's another one of the don't go out into the woods alone, don't go out into the cold alone, don't stray far from the village, don't stray far from the town, or else look what can happen to you.
That's just really affected my whole perspective on some of the stories for those Saturday morning cartoons now. Boy, howdy.
Right? And if I remember correctly, the other weird thing about the cartoon, Gargamel, I
Mm-hmm.
think is the good person in the original stories. Like I think they're like a wizard who are
Who's like trying to
trying.
protect the children or ew,
Yeah.
wow. Well,
Belgian. Or no, that's the
Belgian.
Smurfs.
Oh.
Where's the uh the trolls of Nordic folklore. So it is Nordic stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Hmm. Okay.
Yeah, Luke
Okay.
had to tell me about it once, and I had the same kind of reaction. I'm like, oh, really?
It's
But
dark.
but once again, like when it comes to those kinds of folk tales that have been Americanized in a bunch of different ways, or
Right.
Disneyfied, or
Disneyfied,
whatever,
yeah.
turned
Yeah.
into more modern stories, and where the parable of don't go out in the woods
Mm-hmm.
is not a necessary thing as much anymore.
Right. Yeah.
um the sanding of the edges and turning it into a fairy tale instead of a folk tale,
Yeah.
turning it into a fun happy story instead of a cautionary tale. Yeah,
Yikes.
you find the reality of it is just wild. So there you go, that is
Yep.
your weird bit of folklore for today.
I've
Um,
learned something new.
but
Uh,
also Oni are also real
yeah.
folklore
Oh, and they're
creatures that
really cool
have
folklore.
become,
Yeah.
yeah, that have become D&D creatures as well. So yeah, go learn some original folklore, folks. It's fascinating
Yeah.
and really cool, and you'll learn about all sorts of different cultures
Mm-hmm.
and literally because they're, you know how people say if you want to learn a foreign language, that sometimes the best way to do it is to
The stories.
watch like the children shows
Yep.
from that place because those are stories and ways of telling those stories meant to help educate children, and so oftentimes the language is simpler and blah
Mm-hmm.
blah blah. Well, also, listening to those stories from centuries ago can tell you a lot about like the
Oh
fears
yeah.
and the things that people were
Fears and
concerned about
phobias.
and the warnings that they gave their kids of
Yep.
yeah. Mhm.
So I think we're gonna stop with the Oni at this point because what I don't want to do is start painting the hair and accidentally pull the blue in.
Also, I was just gonna
I
say,
saw Moses.
yeah, Moses Carrata, new stream idea. Lauren and V read old fairy tales that shatter childhood memories. Listen,
I
the
mean, I've done that. Actually, on my YouTube channel, I've done like story time with V where I'm reading old Grimm's fairy tales, like
yeah,
the unaltered versions, and yeah, it's
I
fun to
think the
do
good
actually.
thing about them being so like here's the essence of what
Yeah.
was pulled from, and then like the Disney movies and all that stuff have become kind of their own separate thing.
Yeah.
So I think it just helps give a new perspective on where those
Oh,
stories came from.
totally.
But if you love the Smurfs, like that's joyful, that's fun.
Yeah.
Have enjoy. Also, I don't know how we tied that into Idol Champions.
Well, if you want to have fun exploring fairy tale lands and dealing with small critters, make sure you check out Miss Squiggles, our own little blue octopod,
Yeah.
who is going to be going up for sale on Monday. And the first week of the net proceeds from the Miss Squiggles sales will be donated to the fantastic group Lambert House. If you missed the wonderful Idle Insights interview that happened yesterday with the creator of Miss Squiggles, Devin Rue, and Brandon Knox from Lambert House, definitely recommend you check that episode out. Very informative, very cool. It wasn't just about Miss Squiggles and Lambert House, but it was also about, map making and interests and how to unwind and everything like that. So definitely give that one a look. And again, this is going to be available starting on Monday. You can add this cute blue little creature to your your familiar lineup to help your champions in their formations do some cool things in Idle Champions. And along with that, it is the weekend. So we have a just I don't know anymore.
Justiciar.
Justiciar Among Us weekend and the free gold Justiciar chest. And that is with the newsletters. If you sign up for the newsletters every Friday, I'm going to move this because this is bugging me. My Italian hands keep hitting the boom. So like bonk bonk. So if you haven't signed up for a newsletter yet, just make sure you do, because every Friday we will send you an alert about our weekend buff that is happening, and we will give you something free each time. And sometimes we will use that newsletter as a means to relay some very important information about what's happening in the game. But once again, we give you a free chest. So really, it's a cool thing to have, and just something to take a look when you log into Idle Champions to start playing. And you can sign up for the newsletter, and right away you'll get a newsletter from us to unlock Hitch and get some goodies for Hitch type of thing. So make sure you do that. So that's the weekend. And then are you ready for next Wednesday? Because Dragon Down is starting. Oh my God, how are we already in June? This just hit me.
I know, right?
What?
I know.
Ah! That
But
one
Esmeralda
hurt.
and Duke Raven Guard are super cool, and you're gonna be
Yeah.
excited to unlock and or gear them up when
Yeah.
Dragon Down drops on Wednesday.
Absolutely. So Esmeralda's coming back as our reworked champion, and she's got some cool new features happening with her that you want to check out. Look at the Spotlight blog if you haven't already on idlechampions.com. And hello? There was a really weird sound coming. Never mind. And then Duke Older Raven Guard is...
You need to leave. We were talking too much about horror things.
Right?
You need to leave. You need to
Right?
leave now.
Get out of the house. The call is coming from inside the house. So Duke Alder Ravengard is also joining as a new champion, and the Spotlight blog went live today. So make sure you check out all that cool info. And there's also some nice connections into, our Baldur's Gate 3 group. And honestly, Duke Ravengard has been in D&D for quite a while. So it's worth reading up on that new champion too. And again, these two are joining us on Dragon Down next Wednesday at 12 p.m. Pacific. So keep your eyes out for that one and make sure you log in and get started for all that goodness. And I think that's everything of import that we want to make sure we hit upon for this week. So Lauren and I will be back next week, and we are going to be keep going with now I want to name her Smurfette. Oh my god.
I mean, you can. It's fine.
So we'll keep going with our Oni, who right now bears a striking resemblance to Smurfette. So I'm not sure if we're going to finish that up next week, but we'll play it by ear and see where we go from there. So we look forward to seeing you in that one, and make sure you stay tuned because do we have formation save?
We don't have formation save. What we have is Sean is continuing to build the D&D Lego set. It's Build It with Sean. So stick around and help Sean build a Lego set, because the D&D Lego set is awesome, but huge.
Massive. It's massive. All right, so stick around for some more like cool stuff with colors and crafting is really what it comes down to. We'll see you next week, everyone. Bye-bye.